Welcome to Everyday Martial Artist, a weekly podcast where you'll join me, Brian Doucette, as I interview a different martial artist each episode and hear their story. Some guests you may have heard of, and some you probably haven't. Be sure to subscribe where all your favorite podcasts are available. Also visit our website at everydaymartialartist.com. If you're listening for a specific interview, I sure hope you'll stay and check out the other episodes. A very special thank you to Topher Williams for our custom theme music. And now, the newest episode of Everyday Martial Artist. Everyday Martial Artist is brought to you by KOOnline.com for all your martial arts needs. Sparring and safety gear, rank belts, uniforms, weapons, patches, and more. Wholesale supplies made by martial artists for martial artists. Visit us today at ko-online.com. You know, one question I ask every guest on Everyday Martial Artist is about their favorite martial arts book. And there's never been one quite like Martial Theory by Steve Perlman, described as the art of war for the martial arts. Martial Theory helps any martial artist or instructor take their understanding and teaching to the next level. And at martialtheoryu.com, you'll find a global community with instructor groups, Q&A with Steve, live events, and demonstrations to help you apply martial theory directly to your training. It's not just a book, it's a movement. Find Martial Theory on Amazon, and when you join martialtheoryu.com, use discount code EverydayMA for 20% off. That's under $20 a month for life. That's martialtheoryu.com, code EverydayMA. Hello and welcome to Everyday Martial Artist. I'm your host, Brian Doucette, and as we do every week, we're joined by a brand new guest talking about their life and their journey throughout the world of martial arts. My guest today is a world champion kickboxer, actor, motivational speaker, and lifelong martial artist whose journey from bullied teenager to international champion is nothing short of remarkable. Born in Newport, Kentucky, he struggled with fear, insecurity, depression, and anxiety as a young man before discovering martial arts at the age of 13. What began as a way to defend himself soon transformed his entire life. By age 15, he had earned his first-degree black belt and become the #1 point fighter in the Midwest. Nicknamed Golden Boy, he went on to dominate the world of kickboxing, capturing Georgia, Southeast, and U.S. titles before achieving the pinnacle of the sport in 1986 when he became both the PKA and PKC kickboxing champion of the world. Known for his explosive style and lightning-fast kicks, he was ranked among the fastest kickers of his era, with his famous hook kick clocked in at an astonishing 118 miles per hour. After retiring from competition, he transitioned into acting and quickly found success in Hollywood, appearing in more than 65 films and television shows, including Heat alongside Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, as well as appearances in Charlie's Angels, The Flash, Supernatural, iZombie, Tracker, and many others. Today, he continues to inspire audiences throughout the United States and Canada as a youth motivational speaker and mentor, helping young people face their fears, step outside their comfort zones, and pursue their dreams with confidence and purpose. Please welcome my guest today, Mr. Jerry Trimble. How you doing today, Jerry?
Oh, any better I'd be you, Brian.
If only.
You,
Hey, thank you. Seriously, I know my listeners probably get sick of hearing this, but you have no idea how much I appreciate this. I mean, if it wasn't for the guests saying yes and taking time out of their schedule, the show would not have been going on for over 280 episodes. So I truly appreciate your time, and I'm so looking forward to this conversation.
Thank you, Brian. It's my honor, man. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for having me. Yes.
Well, I mentioned in the intro, you started at the age of 13, but what I want to know is what led to that? Where did that first interest in martial arts come from? Kind of that spark that kicked off your martial arts journey?
It was kind of it was a strange thing because I was bullied from the ages of about 11 to 13, and I was bullied at home. I was a scared kid. I was always in my comfort zone. I was afraid to do things, and there was a time where after being bullied, I was in my bedroom and my dad comes in and he starts talking to me, and he knew what was going on, that kids were bullying me. And he said something that kind of stuck with me. He said, son, he goes, you got to try new things. You got to get out of your comfort zone, try new things. And you got to be scared in order to grow. And when he said that, I was like, got to be scared. I said, whoa. I mean, for some reason that connected with me. Mm-hmm. So then I tried sports, and I quit every sport I tried because of the bullying and the embarrassment.
Okay.
And then there was one time after I was bullied, we were in the projects in Newport, Kentucky, and I was so humiliated. There's a bridge that goes from Newport, Kentucky to Cincinnati, Ohio. And I would travel that bridge, go across the bridge maybe a couple times a month to go to the comic book store, which I went frequently. And there was one time after being bullied by these kids, I said, fuck it, I'm going to the bridge. And this time I'm going to jump, because every time I went over the bridge, there was a spot on the bridge, right in the middle of the bridge, that I would stand there in the center, and I'd look down and think, I literally would think, what would the hitting the water kill me, or would I drown? I mean, I would have these just dark thoughts.
Wow.
At a young age. And at that time, after that, being bullied by a bunch of kids, I said, screw it. I was going to the bridge, and I went to the bridge, and I was in that spot. And after standing there for a while, I was praying, and I'm not religious, but I was praying to God. And I started thinking about my family and what it would do to them. So I just pulled back, and I started walking off the bridge, and I got off the bridge, and I started walking through the city. And I just all of a sudden stopped. I was in the Newport Shopping Center, and I looked up, and I was standing in front of the Cinema 1 and 2 theater. Cinema 1 had Planet of the Apes with Charlton Heston.
Nice.
And then Cinema 2 had Chinese Connection with Bruce Lee.
Wow.
And to see Bruce Lee flying through the air, kicking the movie poster, I was enamored. I said, wow, that is so cool. So I go in, I buy a ticket to Planet of the Apes because it was rated PG. I couldn't get into Bruce Lee because it was rated R.
Nice.
So I bought a ticket because, it was PG, and then I snuck in to see Chinese Connection, went all the way to the back row, and I sit there, and man, when Bruce Lee jumped onto the screen, everything changed. Wow. I was so impressed. I was really excited. Then after the movie, I went home and asked my dad to join martial arts, and he laughed at me and said, "Get out of here. You quit everything you start." And then I took all the money I had, went to the comic book store, didn't stop in that spot. I went to the comic book store. I bought every martial arts magazine they could buy. And then I came back, and I put the magazines all over the floor, and I turned my bedroom into a dojo and started practicing via the magazine master. Wow. And I got my cousin involved, and he came over, and we would practice together. We created our own style called King Kong. It was stupid. We didn't know what the hell we were doing. But after a while, my parents saw that I was serious, and they asked my uncle, Leroy, to take me down to the local karate school that had just opened up, a Taekwondo school. And I joined and never looked back, and just put everything I had into it.
Wow.
It was pretty crazy, but yeah, Taekwondo, martial arts, it changed my life, literally changed my life.
So the very first time you went into the school, did you go just to watch, or did you jump into class the first time?
No, we went right to the school, and we jumped. My uncle enrolled me into the school, and I remember the first day. It was weird. I was always embarrassed being barefooted, out in public. It was really weird.
Yep.
Now all I do is walk barefooted. But I was in the locker room or the dressing room. They only had one dressing room there. In the dressing room, I had my uniform on, white belt, and I'm looking at myself in the mirror, and I'm thinking, what am I doing? This is stupid. I'm going to embarrass myself. I'm going to look so stupid. And then somebody knocked on the door, scared the hell out of me. I go out, jump into class that was just starting, and then boom, I was in it. And then it was just exhilarating. It was so cool. I didn't feel judged. My instructor Richard Hamilton was amazing. He really showed a lot of care and attention. And as well as I do that if you get a great instructor that really cares for the student and really, makes it fun and enjoyable, then everything can happen.
Yep.
So
that's the game. Yeah, the game changer is the right instructor.
Big time, man. And it was great. And it just it sparked something in me that I never felt before. And it just changed the trajectory of my life.
Do you remember the first technique you learned? Was it a kick? Was it a punch? Was it, what was the first thing you learned? Do you remember?
First thing we learned was we were in ready position. We learned how to bow first. Then we were ready position, Chumbi position. Yep. And then after we did the stretches, we learned we cross our arms and step out with our left to right leg, and step out with the right leg and double block to the sides, hand out in front, right arm to the right side. And we did the punches. That was the first thing I learned.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. And then as much as you liked it, so how often were you going when you first started? Was class 2 nights a week, 3 nights a week? Were you going more often?
I started out, our class, we could go 3 days a week. And then I asked the instructor, I said, can I come and just kind of watch? And when there's no class going on, I can just kind of stretch. He goes, yeah. So I went 6 days a week. I literally went 6 days a week. I would walk a mile and a half it was about a mile and a half, 2 miles to the karate school, to the Taekwondo school. And then I would stay, the school was open during the afternoon. Then when I would get out of school, I would go directly to the dojo, and I would hang at the dojo from the time it opened. After their morning classes and afternoon classes, it would open at 3:00, and I would hang there at 3:30 when I got out of school, and I would just watch classes. I'd watch the first class, watch the second class, I'd jump into the third class or whatever class I could take. And then I just hung out until the last class, watching all the classes. And then my dad would pick me up.
That's
and I did it literally 6 days a week. I ate, slept, and drank martial arts, Taekwondo.
That's cool. And so back then, were they still calling it Korean karate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Korean karate.
Yep. I remember hearing that from my instructor too, that when he remembers the first sign on the building said in big letters Korean karate, then really small letters underneath it, Taekwondo. He's like, because nobody knows what Taekwondo is.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Nice.
Yes.
Do you remember which system of Taekwondo, like which kwan it was, or like which patterns you guys did?
Yeah, it was first form was first kata was Chunji form.
Okay.
Chunji Dongun Dosan, I think. Wow, so long ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because last week I was thinking, I know the first, I think I remember the first 3 or 4, and vaguely the other forms. I want to get back into going through those forms again.
Nice.
Yeah, just for memory's sake, just to keep my memory sharp.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long were you there before you did your first tournament?
I was a green belt when I did my first tournament.
Okay.
And it was, I think I was a green belt with 2 stripes. Did my first tournament. I lost my first 3. And then I talked to my instructor, and he said, what you're doing is, he said, you're sparring the same people all the time. He goes, you're sparring the same people. You're sparring the same ranks. What you have to do is you have to spar people that are better than you. And I was, I think, 14. Yeah. 14. Okay. Yeah. But 14. Yeah. 14 and a half. And so that's what I did. I started sparring the higher ranks, and boom, I went to my I believe it's my 4th tournament, and I won first place.
Nice.
And then won first place in fighting. And then it was on a weekend, on a Saturday. And then that Monday, because of all the bullying and stuff that I went through, I didn't think anybody knew I was studying Taekwondo in my school. And it was that Monday that my bully picked on me for the last time, and I unleashed on him. And I was never bullied again in school. It was crazy.
That's awesome.
But it was that tournament, winning that tournament, that enabled me, gave me the confidence to stand up to my fear again, to say, I am not going to take this abuse anymore. And, and he came at me, and boom, I was victorious.
That's awesome. And were you only competing in sparring, or did you do weapons? Did you do breaking, forms?
Yeah, no weapons. I studied weapons. I didn't do any. I learned one kata with the bow, the staff. Okay. And did not compete with weapons. I competed in katas and sparring, and I won quite a few trophies. Yeah.
Okay. Did you do as well in kata as you did in sparring?
Sometimes I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But no. Well, I mean, yeah. I think I got maybe. God, I don't know. Yeah, I don't even have my trophies anymore. I left them at a when I moved away from Kentucky, moved to Georgia. When I moved to Georgia to Los Angeles, I left them at a friend's farm, and I never seen them again. Never saw them.
Okay.
Yeah, but you know what? Yeah, I think I won. It was more sparring than kata, but not too many more. I was pretty good at katas. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And do you remember, you said, when you started, it was kind of a new school. So do you remember, I know you said you got your black belt at age 15. How many of the other students that were there kind of like the first day when you were stuck with it as long as you?
Not as many of them. No, there was a lot of kids that were dropping out, but there were quite a few that actually stuck with it. We had a great instructor.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Great instructor. He was, Mr. Hamilton was, he was pretty phenomenal. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So talk about your black belt test, kind of what you had to go through, what it was like, that experience.
My God. Oh, wow. How long ago was that? Had to do 3 different katas. Had to do my kata for black belt, and then we had to do, he would pick 2 other katas that we had to do, and then we had to do 1-step sparring, and board breaking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember what
like,
kind of breaks you had to do?
Yeah, I did lunging side kick, jump spinning back kick. Yeah.
Okay.
Elbow strike.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very
to
cool.
do a 3 station break.
Now, did you? I know it's every instructor is different. Did you get to know the breaks beforehand to prepare for them, or was it like a surprise the day of your test?
No, we got to prepare for them.
Wow, so lucky. See, my black belt test, and I've had other guests be like, "Are you serious? You didn't know?" No, I think I had somewhere between 10 to 12 total breaks.
Oh, wow.
We only knew one of them beforehand.
Wow.
One break we knew we had to do a head break with a brick. That was the only one we knew ahead of time. All the board breaks my instructor would pick based on your technique. It's like, all right, that was an amazing turning side kick, 3 boards turning side kick, or that was a really bad turning side kick, 3 boards turning side kick. That's kind of how he'd pick the breaks throughout your test, depending on if you did really good or really bad. Yeah. You were going to break something to prove how good it was. So
that's crazy. Oh, wow.
Yeah. It would have been good to be able to prepare a little more. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we get to do our first one. For 2nd and 3rd degree, no, we didn't get to prepare for it.
Okay.
But the first we did, yes.
Nice. That's very cool. And then how long did you stay at that specific school?
Wow, that's an interesting story.
Mm-hmm.
I was at that school until I got booted out of the ATA.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's gonna ruffle some feathers. I was loyal to the American Taekwondo Association, and this is actually the first time that I've ever mentioned this.
Oh,
it was funny because when I went to an ATA black belt training camp, and I was testing for my 2nd or 3rd degree, second degree, and it was in Omaha, Nebraska. It was Little Rock, Arkansas, and Master Lee. He's passed. I don't want to disrespect him in any way, but he came up to me, and this was when I started training kickboxing, and I was on ESPN a couple of times. And he came up to me and told me, he said, listen, he goes, no more kickboxing. It's not traditional. It's not Taekwondo. And I'm like, whoa. And I had like 2 fights that were on ESPN, and this was in Atlanta, Georgia. And I said, sir, I enjoy it. I said, I love doing it. And he goes, no more kickboxing. It's not traditional. It's not Taekwondo.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, oh my God, that affected me so bad that I got sick.
Wow.
For the next 2 days. I was literally sick in bed. I don't know. I let it affect me way too much. And then I went on and did my test and passed my test. I went back to Atlanta and continued what I was doing. And I continued fighting, fought on ESPN a couple more times. And then we had a training camp, or not a training camp. We had a promotional testing at our school. And Master Lee was going to be there. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I wonder if he's seen me on ESPN continuing to fight. And it was devastating. He basically kicked me out in front of everyone and said, you leave. And I was like, why? Wow. I looked at my instructor, who didn't say anything, which was even more devastating. And I left, and I was kicked out of the American Taekwondo Association.
Wow.
This is the first time that I've ever told anybody this. Wow.
But
I was devastated. It messed with me for a while. And I mean, because I was loyal to the ATA, I was like, man, ATA. And I mean, it was devastating. So I got booted out and went on and used that fire to pursue my dream of becoming world champion, and went on to do it.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was, how long was I in that organization? Maybe 10 years.
Okay.
Maybe 11 years, 12 years, maybe something like that.
That's a long time. So, okay.
Yeah. 10 years.
At any time during that span, did you ever get involved in the teaching side? Did that ever something you were passionate about, teaching others?
I started teaching when I was a green belt.
Okay.
Yeah. I watched all the classes and I watched the instructors teach. So, I started teaching as a green belt, and I would teach white belts and yellow belts.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, man, I would teach every chance I could. And my instructor would say, Trimble, come over here. Yeah, teach these guys one-step sparring. Teach them Chunji, Dangun. And yeah, man, teaching was everything to me. It was my favorite thing to do besides sparring.
Really?
I loved teaching. And that's when it started, that inspiration in me to help others, because I loved helping others, and because I mean, coming from somebody that was being bullied, and I was in a position to be able to help someone else.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was on cloud nine. I felt so good about being able to help somebody else. And teaching, man, I've been teaching since I was 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ever any thoughts of opening your own martial arts school?
I had a school back in Atlanta, Georgia, and Trimble's Martial Arts and Fitness, and and there were some issues that happened, and so I closed up shop and moved to Atlanta, Georgia, or moved to Los Angeles to pursue my dream in acting. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the kickboxing. How did that come about? Did someone approach you and say, "Hey, you'd be good at this"? Did you see someone else doing it and think, "I want to do that"?
Yeah, you know what? I was watching ESPN and I saw Richard Jackson and Howard Jackson fighting, and I thought to myself, I said, "Wow, I think I can beat these guys." And I knew I could kick better than them, but who knows? I mean, they're both amazing fighters. They're both passed. God bless them. Rest their soul. But amazing fighters. And I just thought, hey, I think I could beat. And these guys were fighting for the world championship. And I said, I can do it. So that's what sparked it. And then I got a boxing trainer and started training, and fought my first fight for the Kentucky State title, and TKO'd the guy in the 4th round, who happened to be my best friend.
Oh, wow.
At the time, which is another crazy story. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, but that's how it started, man. I saw it on ESPN, a spark like Bruce Lee in the theater sparked, and bang.
So did you do research on like what the rules are for kickboxing? Did you find like an actual coach to work with you? How did that, before that first fight, training for that, how did that work out?
Well, the first fight was it was in Covington, Kentucky. We found out the rules, and there was the guy that I was fighting. He was the AAU lightweight champion, and I was just a regular fighter that I just started fighting. That was my first fight, and the fight was for the Kentucky State championship. And I won. These TKO. So it was, after that, I said I want to become world champion, and then I just put the energy out there, and my instructor moved to Atlanta, Georgia. And then he said, there's a opening for an instructor that we could use. And he said, why don't you come out here? We'll put you up at Asa Gordon's boxing gym, and along with Joe Corley, the promoter. And I put everything I had into it.
That's awesome. Have you heard the rumors that Joe's trying to bring back the PKA?
Yeah.
I hope so.
Good luck. I hope he does. Because it's striking, which is,
it's fun to watch.
The MMA's, it's good to watch, but I honestly, why do people want to fight?
Yeah.
I'm like, fighting, looking back, I've got parents that come up to me and go, hey, I got my son. He wants to get into MMA, wants to start fighting. I'm like, why? And she's like, well, he loves to fight. And I went, well, that's his ego, And I said, he's really got to take care of his brain. I said, this is the most valuable physical asset is his brain.
Yeah.
And I said, I would discourage him from fighting. The whole fight game is just ridiculous. It's ego and greed, but God bless them. If they want to do it, more power to them.
Yeah.
But people that say, I just want to do it because I want to fight. I wanted to do it because I wanted to become world champion. I had a goal. I had a dream.
Yeah. To
get in there to just fight, it's, I don't know. That's a lot of ego in there. That's, just to get in there and just, I want to fight. I want to beat people up. It's, I don't know.
Not healthy.
Not healthy, man. Yeah. Not healthy. No.
So how long, talk about the path from that first fight to when you made, when you hit that goal, when you became world champion, about how long did that take, and what was that process like for you?
From the time that I become the world champion, I had to find a training camp. I had to find instructors that were actually in that arena, because the promoter he was more of a boxing promoter, but we put the rules together and he said, you know what, we're going to make this a state title. So we did that. So then that's when I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, and with Joe Corley, who, he was he was the king promoter. He was Don King at the time, So, and they brought in fighters like Rick Rufus to spar with me. I sparred with Jerry Rome. Whoa, Rick Rufus can hit, man. He can hit. They brought in some great fighters for me to train with. And Asa Gordon, who was a great trainer. I don't know if you're familiar with Asa Gordon. He was a boxer.
I know the name,
Yeah. He had a lot of fighters that trained. He trained like about six or seven world champions. And I trained in his camp at Joe Corley's studio in the basement. And they just brought in all these fighters, and Joe Corley was my promoter and started setting up these fights. And it just went, I won the Georgia State Championship. I won the Southeast Championship, the United States Championship. And then, 2 world titles. And after that, I'm like, I want to do something else. Okay. I did what I came here to do, to become world champion.
You met your goal.
Movies.
So was that your idea, Hollywood? Or did someone say, hey, we've seen you fight, we want to put you in a movie?
Yeah, you know what? It's funny because when I was fighting, it was hard for us to get a shot at the world championship. And the world champion at the time kept denying us a fight. And then there was a promoter. His name was Jim Abernathy. He's passed. God, everybody's dying. Everybody's dead now. It's like crazy. But he's passed. And Jim and I became really good friends. And he invited me over to his house one night and told me, he goes, listen, I want to sign with you. He goes, I'm going to take kickboxing to a whole new level. I'm going to sign with you, and I'm going to take you to Hollywood. I'm going to put you in the movies. And that was the first time I've heard that. And I went, ooh. I said, whoa, that sounds pretty cool. And I never thought about it, even though I was into the whole movie things. I used to write my own scripts when I was like, 15, 16 years old, and I was into it, but I never thought of, becoming an actor. So that sparked that in me. The world champion kept turning us down, and he had a brother that was also a fighter that was in my division. So what does Abernathy do? He sets up a fight with his brother, and I beat his brother. The world champion gets into the ring and says, I want you. And I went, mission accomplished. So then, I fought. I won the world championship and defended it for 4 years. And the promoter, Jim Abernathy, he wasted all of his money on drugs, and that part fell through. It was like one setback after another. And then I said, screw it. I'm retiring from the ring. It was after my last fight. I got into some bad stuff with the wrong people and drugs, a drug overdose, and then have an epiphany at 3:00 in the morning at Alligator Alley in Florida. I said, I was lost. I was literally lost. And the epiphany was to go to California, get into the movies. So I came back and sold everything I owned, went to Hollywood and went on my first 2 auditions. And I booked 2 lead roles in 2 films, one with Jet Li and one with Bolo Young.
Wow.
And I was like, and I had never been in acting class. Oh man, it was crazy. But and that sparked it. And I went, wow. And everything I've been extremely blessed in my life. And man, that's how the movie business started. It was crazy. Yeah.
I know I mentioned to you, like my kids have all been in acting and stuff. And I know there's other people who listen to my show who are aspiring and want to be in the movies. What's 1 or 2 tips you would give someone who's maybe has a martial arts background type thing, and they also want to try to break into? I know it's not as easy, or maybe it's harder nowadays with so many. I mean, I would think it would be easier now because there's so many more channels doing TVs and movies and everything there was back then. I would think there'd be a lot more opportunities for more people to do it. But what advice would you give someone who maybe wanted to take that path?
Yeah. Look at your life. Look at everything as a project. Your life is a project. Write your goals down, visualize, practice visualization, surround yourself with the right people. show me your crowd, I'll show you your future. That's why when I went down this dark path after becoming world champion, everything started to change. And my crowd was, whoa, it was dark and everybody wanted to be my friend. And so surround yourself with the right people. Look at yourself as a project. Learn as much as you can about what you're doing and what you're going through or what you're going to do, and visualize it. Hang out with people that are in that field that you want to be involved with, and get into class. If you want to be an actor, get into class. Mm-hmm. Becoming world champion, that helped me. I mean, when I went on the auditions, it was, my thing was my acting, because I was going to get into a class, and this manager, I was teaching for a Chuck Norris studio, and this manager just happened to see me, and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" And I said, "Well, I want to be an actor." And he goes, "Well, I'm a manager looking for actors." And I said, "Well, I'm an actor looking for a manager." So he signed me on, sent me on my auditions. What got me to book these 2 roles, I believe, is when they said, "Okay, great, I auditioned for the role." When they said, "Let's see your martial arts," I went, boom, I had them there. And all I would do is like just kick after kick after kick, all standing in one place, jump, spinning, spline, all kinds of stuff. But after I did the 2 films, I was working on 2 films at the same time, 12 hours on one. Then I'd go and I'd do 12 hours on the other one. And it got to the point, I did this 3 times. I was working 24 hours consistently. My manager said, "Listen, both of you production companies agreed that you would work together. He's done 12 hours, 12 hours, 12 hours, back and forth. He can't keep going like this." So after that, the first thing I said was, I need to get into an acting class, because I did these roles with no acting experience at all. And it just, I mean, in my first 2 auditions, I booked 2 lead roles. I'm like, what? But study, learn, and grow. That's it. That's the best advice. Study, learn, and grow, and surround yourself with the right people. That's it. And keep working on yourself. That's it, man.
We're looking through your IMDb right now and some of the stuff you've done. I mentioned, of course, Heat in the intro. I mean, that, Val Kilmer, one of my all-time favorite actors, and De Niro. And I mean, just, you worked with some amazing people, not just on the martial arts side, but just acting wise. And then, of course, I mentioned also my daughter's favorite show, Supernatural. You were on an episode of that. And one of my favorite shows, I just saw you on, a couple of weeks ago, is Tracker. I love that show. I love Justin Hartley. Been a fan of his for a while. So, and also The Flash. I'm a big superhero like you, comic book kid. So I love all the Marvel, the DC stuff. So how was it working on The Flash? You were such a comic book fan when you were a kid. Was it pretty cool working on a superhero show?
Yeah, it was extremely cool. Yeah, it's funny because I auditioned for it, and for like a month and a half, I never heard anything. And then suddenly my agent calls me up and goes, "Listen, you booked The Flash." And I went, "What?" And I was, whoa. I said, "Oh my God." Yeah, I thought, because as a kid, I collected comic books. Oh my God, I hated comic books. But that was a fun time, man. Marcus Stockheimer. And it's funny because because I'm a youth motivational speaker. I did a motivational talk, and it was in Rockford, Illinois. Okay. I go in, and as I'm, after the talk, the kids are like, somebody yells in the audience, some kid yells in the audience, he goes, "Marcus Stockheimer." And I went, "What?" Which is my character, The Flash. Yep. And the kids start spouting my dialogue. Wow. I was like, oh my God. It was so cool. So, you know what? I mean, yeah, it was, so that kind of brought back some great memories, and it was a pretty cool situation.
That's awesome. I mentioned Tracker. Now, is there any other new stuff coming up that you can talk about?
Yeah. I'm pinned. I just got pinned 2 days ago for a feature film.
Okay.
I can't mention anything.
No. Okay.
Yeah, but they're going to do callbacks, which they're going to do callbacks in person. Ooh, I haven't had a in-person audition since before COVID.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. And my wife's like, "Oh my God." Or I talked to my agent today. She's like, "Oh, wow, this is kind of a little tense and freaky." And I went, "You know what?" I said, "This is what I teach the kids about." I said, "It's going to be so intense and so crazy, but I am looking so forward to it just to get out of my comfort zone. And it's a lot of dialogue. It's a great role, and I got a good shot at it.
Nice.
And
well, if you get it, you'll have to let us know, and when you can officially talk about it, and when it comes out, I'll add a link to your episode. So
okay, definitely, brother.
Nice.
And and then we've got we're going into development right now with a project that's going to be shot in Japan. It's a combination of, if you could put films together, it would be Predator meets Godzilla meets Jaws. There you go. That's
really?
all I can say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's pretty cool. We've been having a lot of Zoom meetings with the production crew in Japan, and man, it's going to be one hell of a ride.
Okay.
But yeah.
Very cool. And you mentioned the motivational speaking. How did that come about? How did you get into that?
Yeah, when I was 15 and I just became a black belt, I went to a high school in Highland Heights, Kentucky, and I did a martial arts and motivation talk. And a lot of stuff is motivation. And I did a talk, and kids were coming up to me going, "Man, you inspired me." And it was kids my age that were really impressed with what I did. I thought, wow, I want to do more of this. So I started doing seminars and workshops with martial arts and motivation. And then I started being asked as I was fighting, and I traveled up into the ranks and Southeast champion and stuff. Then organizations started asking me to come in and talk to their kids and their at-risk youth. And I've been volunteering forever. And as of right before COVID, I started doing it as a profession. My father-in-law, you know who my father-in-law is, right? Yeah.
Big fan of your father-in-law. So yes.
Yeah. Mickey Nolan's.
Yep.
Sorry. Did I just drop that name?
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
He said, "Let's go to lunch." We went out to lunch, and he said, "Jerry," he goes, "This motivational speaking stuff you're doing, schools and that." He goes, "So what are you doing with it?" I said, people call me and they ask me to come in. He goes, "You getting paid for it?" And I said, "No." I said, "I'm just volunteering." I said, "It's not about the money, Mickey." He goes, "Oh, okay." He goes, "Well, now," he pulls out a stack of papers, maybe about a 2-inch stack of papers. And he goes, "Here you go." And I said, "What's that?" And he goes, "Well, see this? These are people that I've researched and printed out on Google, people that are getting paid to do what you do." And I went, and I said, "It's not really about the money, Mickey." And he goes, "What are you doing right now?" I said, "Well, I'm an actor." He goes, "Are you working on anything?" And I went, "Okay, I get it." And then after that, I said, okay, this is taking it to the next level. So I started putting more time into it, invested more time, and started taking some courses and working on, I do workshops. My keynote speech is "Fear is a Lie," which is a lie. It's there's real fear and there's fake fear. Mm-hmm. Real fear is designed to protect you. Fake fear, is, the doubt saying you can't do it. You'll embarrass yourself, and if there's anything I know more about in life, it's fear, because that was the biggest obstacle that's ever been in my way since I was a kid. And it literally almost ended my life. Yeah. So, real fear keeps you alive. Fake fear keeps you from living. And that's basically what my workshops and my talks are all about, helping these kids to learn how to conquer the fake fear and to not, it's a lie, but there's ways that you can use it. Mm-hmm. And, it's, oh man. And once I get them out of their comfort, it's getting out of their comfort zone. Fear and the comfort zone are like best friends. Fear pushes you into the comfort zone. Comfort zone says, "Hey, let's chill, man. Let's hang here. Hey, it's all good. You got all the time in the world." And then bang, you discover something within you which is your superpower, courage. And then you use that courage to get out of the comfort zone. And I did that. And that's what saved my life. And we all have courage. We all have discipline. We all have concentration. We all have focus. We all have these elements. We all have these kind of human superpowers in us, but kids are like, "Oh, I'm not confident." I'm like, yes, you are. You have it. You have confidence. But how do you build confidence? You build confidence by using something called courage. And when you use that courage, the confidence strengthens. It becomes stronger and then stronger. So my goal is to help kids to understand that they have everything within them, everything that it takes to go after their goals and dreams. You just have to work on yourself like you are the greatest project that you will ever work on.
That's awesome. I like that. And has that picked up again? Because I know I got my good friend as a professional motivational speaker. And I know when COVID hit, it kind of stopped for a while. but in the last couple of years,
Yeah.
it's actually, he said it's actually busier now than it was before COVID. So has it picked up?
Yes, it's starting to pick up. Yeah. And the cool thing, I do a lot of workshops.
Mm-hmm.
I do more workshops right now than talks.
Okay.
I mean, I need to clone me. Yeah, I'm working on a book. I've got 2 scripts we're working on developing. I've got workshops. I worked with the East End Boys Club, the East End Girls Club. I do workshops, fear and courage workshops. And I've got a talk lined up in Indiana after the first of next year. And then a talk with my alma mater, the school I graduated from. We're working on getting me in there. And then some of the other schools in my hometown.
Nice.
And next year, man, I'm going all out on it and doing the Fears Light keynote speech with the workshops, which is that's my purpose. Acting gets me out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
Acting, it's still a challenge for me. People are like, well, you've been doing it for so long. I'm like, are you kidding me? Man, it's still, to me, it's still, there's a stress there when you're remembering lines and you're on set, but to me, it's an adrenaline rush and it's like, whoa, I'm growing here. Every time you step out of your comfort zone, you grow. And that's the way I look at acting. And it's a challenge. And I love a challenge.
That's cool. I love it. Hey, and if you're ever speaking anywhere in the Midwest, let me know. I mean, I'd love to meet you in person. So that'd be kind of cool.
Yes, definitely, brother. Yeah.
So you mentioned a book. It was actually my next question. Have you ever thought of writing a book? You said you're working on one. Is that like an autobiography? Is it more of a motivational book? What type of book you're working on?
It's like a self-help book for teens.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like a self-help memoir for teens.
Nice.
I don't want to say the name. Yeah.
No, that's cool.
But yeah, it's basically teaching teens to look at their life as a project and to face their fears. And basically it's going to have stories about my life and then how I overcame those stories. And it's really, it's geared towards teens or the teenager in all of us.
Okay.
It's for people that are lost and that just, and it's not rocket science, it's connecting with these teens that are really struggling like I struggled, because those are the kids I really want to reach out. I want to tap into the at-risk kids. And most kids are at risk. A lot of kids got it together. They got their act together. They got everything going for them, but there's still things that are going on inside them. There's still fears that they're dealing with. And my goal and my dream is to help my book and the workshops and the talks to help them to overcome those fears, that they can become the person that they were born to be, and to become so strong on the inside that nothing on the outside can shake them. That's the essence of this book.
That's awesome.
And I have all these techniques and these fun things for them to do. And I can't wait to finish it. Of everything I've ever done in my life, this is probably the most difficult thing.
Okay.
It's just like, what do you put in? What do you take out? What do you add? Yeah, it's crazy.
That's really cool. Well, we'll have to, when we're done at the interview, I actually might have an idea of an organization or group for you to come talk to in this area, and I know the person who runs it. So we'll have to chat about that quickly when we're done here. That's
okay. Yeah. Thank you, Brian.
Hearing you talk about it, you remind me of her actually, who started this nonprofit in kind of the same passion and stuff. So I think it might be a good fit. We'll chat about that in a few minutes here. So I got to ask though, like I said, I know I know who your father-in-law is. I'm a big fan of your wife's also. Did you ever get her into martial arts? Does she ever take lessons?
It's funny because she studied a little bit of it when I first started dating her. That's funny. Yeah. And her instructor, great guy. Great guy. He was teaching her kickboxing. And nice. I said, I could teach you kickboxing. And she goes, well, I don't want to make you feel bad. And we were just started dating.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, I understand. And I get that. Yeah. Which is cool. And I respected that. But I've kind of messed around with her and showed her some things. And then she'll play around and throw a punch. And I'm like, honey, come on, babe. If you threw a punch like that, you'd break your fist. And she goes, well, how? And I said, this is why we need to do a class. She goes, I don't have time. And I said, make time. Yeah, you do. I said, right before we go to bed at night, I said, I can show you a couple of punches, maybe a kick. She's funny.
I love it.
And then but it's funny because we were talking the other day, and when we first started dating, we would do these little choreographed fight scenes, and she goes, we should start doing these again. And I said, if you train with me, I said, we'll really look good doing it. She's like, oh, I don't know. Let me think about it. She's funny. Yeah,
That's cool. I love it.
yeah, she's cool. Yeah, she's cool.
Seriously, big fan. She's Out of Control. One of my favorite movies from the 80s. I loved getting to share that with my teenage daughter because my all three of my kids grew up on 80s movies because I'm such a movie buff. So, but yeah, my daughter loved that movie too. So that's very cool. Nice.
Yeah, you know what? She's Out of Control. I love that movie.
That's such a good movie.
That was a great movie, man.
And I watched it. I didn't know who she was at the time. I watched it for Tony Danza, and I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, all right, she's a good actress. Wow.
Yeah, she's good.
At that,
like, hey,
and then I'm like, wait, that's Mickey's daughter? Okay.
Yeah, that funny.
That's awesome.
My God.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a great film. Yeah.
All right, over your life, your martial arts journey, you've been doing this for a long time. Is there one philosophy that stands out at the top of your list?
One philosophy that stands out: always strive on becoming the best version of yourself.
That's a good
and
one.
You know what? One thing that Taekwondo taught me, using the tenets of Taekwondo: courtesy, integrity, perseverance, self-control, indomitable spirit.
Yep.
Yeah, man. And and that's why Bruce Lee's philosophy that's become the best version of yourself. And martial arts, it has helped me to do that. I'm still not the best version of myself, but I'm getting there. And I keep, we can keep, we have to keep improving. That's it.
Definitely.
We have to keep working on ourselves. My God, I just turned 65. I'm like, I'm still learning. I still want to grow. I still want to learn. And, what is it? Come alive at 65, baby. That's where you're young and you're 52.
52. Yep.
Young, man.
There's days where I feel 65. And then there's days where I act like I'm 25. So, hey.
There you go. There you go. That's it, brother. That's it.
All right. How about a worst martial arts related injury? Have you had any bad ones or have you been lucky?
Is that a trick question? I've had 4 hip replacements,
wow,
3 knee surgeries, 4 hand surgeries, and I've got probably about 9 or 10 scars where I had stitches on my face.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's just the abuse of now the stitches the stitches weren't, maybe a couple from kickboxing matches, but the stitches were more from like street fights. Yeah.
Okay.
I had more and I don't say this to brag. That was all ego. That was during the 80s when I was fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I had more barroom brawls than I did kickboxing matches because I would not take any crap from anyone. But that's one thing that's one tenet that I didn't heed, was self-control when it came to that. Yeah. But looking at it now, yeah, I'm there, brother. Self-control city. Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
All right. I got a few fun questions we use to wrap up the interview. I know you talked a little bit about MMA earlier, and let's say maybe a younger version of yourself decided you were going to fight MMA. You were going to join the UFC. What song's playing as you're taking that walk into the cage? What's your walk-up music going to be?
Oh, probably the same thing, the same walkout music that I had when I fought for the world championship.
Yeah.
It was the theme song to a Scarface, Push It to the Limit.
Really?
Push it to the limit. Walk
Nice.
along the razor's edge.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
So if you had to fight today, would you probably use the same one?
Oh, no. Today, I'd probably come out to, I forgot the name of the artist, Andre Day, Rise Up, which is a slow song, Rise Up.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. Which would be the energy of the arena, and then which is pumped up, fired up, everybody's cheering, and then suddenly you've got this soft, mellow music about rising up. Because that's where I'm at internally now. I look at myself as not the crazy wild, because I was wild, man, back in the 80s. I was a wild young man that was full of ego and testosterone, and it was crazy. And now it's I try to lead with the heart in everything I do, and no ego. But even though we still have an ego, everybody's got an ego. Yeah. But it's heart, not ego. That's where my direction is now.
Okay.
Peaceful warrior. A
little disappointed there. I was, with the name drop you had earlier, I figured maybe you'd pick a Monkey song, like I'm a Believer or something. I mean, come on. Last train to Clarksville.
Last train to Clarksville. Yeah.
Daydream Believer. That'd be a good one to walk out to.
Oh, that's funny.
That's
I'm a
awesome.
believer, I guess. Yeah. Oh, shit. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Who are 3, 4, 5 names you'd put on your personal Mount Rushmore of martial arts?
Oh, 3 or 4 or 5 names.
Mhm.
Bruce Lee, obviously.
Yep.
Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan,
Nice.
Jet Li, Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, Jet Li. I don't know. I might throw Michael Jai White up there.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, there you go.
Okay. I'm trying to get him on the show. I put a request out, but
Oh.
so far no luck. But he'd be fun to talk to.
Yeah, you know what? He has given me shout outs quite a few times, and I'm just we did a film together called Full Contact where I was the lead.
That's right.
And it's funny, God, when I was in Los Angeles, it kind of got slow with the acting, and I put up a flyer for private kickboxing lessons, private martial arts kickboxing lessons.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a sidekick that's literally straight up in the air. And I put that in a little grocery shop on the bulletin board. And Roger Corman, his people contacted me and said, "We're casting for a Roger Corman film called Full Contact. We'd like to know if you come in for an audition." And I'm like, "Oh, hell yeah!" So I went in for the audition. I booked the lead,
Nice.
and Michael Jai. It was an underground fight world, and and I was going in to investigate my brother's death. And Michael Jai White, that was his first film.
Wow.
I saw him at the Dragon Fest 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and we were talking. He said that was his first film. I was like, oh my God. So anyway, didn't really get to talk to him then, but we've got to talk here and there, and
That's
just
cool.
a lovely man, a lovely man, a wealth of information. He's just like a wealth of martial arts information. The guy knows everything about everything. He's just, but he's given me some props, and I love the guy. He's just a great guy. Super cool guy.
Everyone I talked to that's met him says the same thing. He's just like one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, and just loves talking about martial arts. So yeah, I'm going to keep crossing my fingers.
Yeah. And the cool thing is, I mean, he's honest, and he doesn't bullshit. He says what's on his mind. He says what he feels, and he's honest about everything, which is, you got to love a guy for that.
Exactly. All right. How about a favorite martial arts book?
Oh, favorite martial arts book? I guess the Taekwondo Bible by General Che Young-gi.
Nice.
Che-young-gi?
Okay.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This one you may not have an answer for. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. But a favorite martial arts video game. Did you ever get into gaming?
Oh yeah. What? Oh shoot. I played it once and went all the way to the top. God,
Really?
What was it?
The 80s or 90s, probably.
80s.
Probably Karate Fighter.
Karate fight. Yeah, it was one of the where it was a fighter. Yeah, and I went all the way to the top, and I was like, I can't remember the name. Karate Fighter, maybe it was. Yeah,
That's the one I remember from the 80s.
Okay, maybe that's it.
There was a lot of like independent games. Like I know there was a game on the Commodore 64 I used to play called Bruce Lee, but that was not licensed by the Bruce Lee Foundation, anything like that. And it was so who knows if that's what it was really named. But there's a lot of those little games like that popping up out there. So, but I do remember playing Karate Fighter in the arcade.
Okay, wow. Yeah.
All right, now for these last few, you can't pick anything you've been in. So, favorite martial arts TV show.
Oh, favorite martial arts TV show. Favorite martial arts TV show. Favorite martial arts. It has to be Green Hornet.
Nice.
Which I was in the film, which was so cool.
Yep.
That's
cool.
I was ecstatic. Yeah.
All right. Favorite martial arts movie.
Favorite martial arts movie? Chinese Connection. Game changer.
Oh, it has to be. It changed your life. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You know what? Hold on. No,
Okay.
I'm sorry. Enter the Dragon.
Oh, okay.
I love Enter the Dragon. Yeah.
So did you get to see that on the big screen as a kid?
Yep.
Oh,
Yes.
The first time I saw it on the big screen was 2 years ago when they re-released it for the 50th anniversary. So
yeah. Enter the Dragon is the best.
That's cool. All right. This one doesn't have to be a martial arts movie. Any movie you've seen in your whole life, a favorite movie fight scene. I've had people pick anything from Rocky to Star Wars to Marvel to The Princess Bride and everything in between.
No, oh God. Oh, whoa. Oh, favorite fight scene. Oh man. I think some of the best fight scenes in one. Can I? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Of the best fight scenes in one movie, and I called him the director. He was J.J. Perry.
Okay.
Oh, Daylight. I think it was with Jamie Foxx.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Dude, have you seen that?
Yes. Yeah.
Fight scenes in there I thought were incredible. I was so impressed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kill Bill, Quentin Tarantino was also amazing.
Yes. That was some good fight scenes. Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but Daylight, after I saw that J.J. Perry, who's a friend of mine, he's also from Kentucky. He directed it, and I texted him and I said, dude, I just saw Daylight. And I said, the fights, they were so creative because, I mean, they were creative. They were dynamic. They told the story. It was, I thought the fight scenes in there were probably some of my favorite. But Kill Bill is pretty close to a tie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great answers. All right. Before I let you go, is there anything I forgot to ask you or just last minute things we want to get out there before we wrap it up?
To anyone listening, to your fans, to the people listening, all the struggles, all the heartaches, all the setbacks, all the successes, all the failures, everything that you go through, look at everything is training. Everything is training. It's training you to become who you're meant to be. Boom.
I like that. That is awesome.
Thank you.
Jerry, this has been so much fun. Like I said, you're one I wanted to have on the show for a while, and I know we've talked about it and we've gone back and forth, and you're super, super busy. And I seriously, I so appreciate your time. This has been such an honor to have you on the show, and I really hope my listeners enjoy it as much as I did.
Oh, thank you, brother. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much, Brian.
Wrap up today's episode by taking your own training to the next level with Martial Theory by Steve Perlman, the book that's redefining martial arts thinking. Find Martial Theory on Amazon today. Join the worldwide movement at martialtheoryu.com, where you'll find Q&A sessions, live events, and direct guidance from Steve himself. Use code EverydayMA for 20% off for life. That's martialtheoryu.com, code EverydayMA. Thanks for listening to Everyday Martial Artist. We hope you will join us every week for a brand new episode with a different martial artist telling their story. If you enjoy the show, be sure to leave us a review. Also, be sure to check out our website at everydaymartialartist.com. There you can find all of our episodes and contact us to suggest guests and ask questions. Again, thanks for listening to Everyday Martial Artist, and we'll see you next week.